Hi and welcome to my channel, and those returning, it's great to see you back. This is part 2 of a 2-part series of getting my Japanese student visa here in Busan. In part 1 we flew to Busan, we dropped off our passports to get a visa, which wasn't quite what we expected, but it all worked out in the end. We were advised that the processing time for the student visa was around 5 to 7 days, and that they would let us know when it was ready for pickup. In this video we're going to go on a few sightseeing trips. We're going to be picking up our visa and arranging our flights back to Japan. So sit back, relax, get yourself a cup of tea and enjoy the sightseeing of Busan. But first we're going to be doing some photos. There were heaps of photo shops in Busan, so we decided to have a go at one of them. The cost was 5,000 won, and you got 2 strips of photos, so if there's 2 of you, you had 1 each. Don't we look cute? When applying for the certificate of eligibility, I found out that I didn't have to go back to New Zealand to get my visa. I could nominate a different country, nominating Korea, as it was closer to Japan and it was a lot cheaper in flights and also accommodation. And also, I haven't been to Busan, so it was a great opportunity to do a bit of sightseeing and have a look around. Our first stop is this breathtaking Haedong Yonggungsa Temple. This temple is truly one of a kind. It's not just on a mountain or tucked away in the forest like most Korean temples. No, it's perched right on the edge of the sea. It's actually known as the Temple by the Sea. The steps were a little bit daunting for myself, I must admit. And it's one of the few Buddhist temples in Korea located along the coast. And wow, look at that view of the East Sea. It just takes your breath away, doesn't it? You also had an opportunity to buy a roof tile for 10,000 won and you could write a message on it. It's a clever idea for fundraising for a new roof, that's for sure. If you're new to the channel, my name's Pennie. I'm from New Zealand and I'm in my 50s. I recently made a big life change and moved to Japan to start a new chapter, something I've dreamed about for a long time. I'll be starting to learn Japanese in the next couple of weeks. I started this journey not just to learn the language, but to really live it, to experience the culture and connect with people, and grow in a way that I've never thought possible. This channel is a space where I'm going to share my experiences, the places I visit, the things I'm learning, and the bits of everyday life in Japan. Whether you're learning Japanese too, or planning your own adventure, or just love to see new places, I hope you'll join me in my adventures. So tap on the subscribe button so you don't miss out on a video. Next up we headed over to the Cheongsapo Daritdol Skywalk. It was just a short ride from the temple. We had a bit of free time, so we decided to get a bit of lunch before heading off to the Skywalk. We found this bakery and it certainly had some really lovely looking cakes and sandwiches. Both got a croissant. There was so much filling I could just eat the filling and not worry about the bread portion of it. It was a tomato, cheese, bacon and lettuce croissant. Very tasty, I must admit. The Skywalk was built on what used to be part of the old Haeundae South Railway, now transformed into a beautiful walking trail. The Skywalk at the moment has free entry, which is a bonus for sure, and the views from here are spectacular. On this great day you could see for miles. While walking on the platform you get to an area where you're standing on this clear glass platform looking straight down onto the waves crashing against the rocks. It's a little nerve-wracking, but the view completely worth it. Next we hopped on one of the sky capsules and we rode along the old coastal line. We shared a capsule with another couple, so it was 25,000 won for 2 of us. This ride was such a highlight. The views of the ocean are incredible. You glide along slowly above the coast, passing the cliffs, cafes and little beaches, and the wide open sea. It's a mixture of peaceful and exciting. Such a cool way to see a different side of Busan for sure. The ride took around 30 minutes, and we met the guide on the other end of the ride. There was a souvenir shop at the destination, so we had a look at the magnets. I chose a little yellow one, and my daughter wanted that one. We're off to the meeting place to meet up with the tour guide for our next destination. The tour was just a small group. It was only 14 of us plus the tour guide. So it was an intimate tour and it was pretty good. We're off to our next destination, which is the UN Memorial Cemetery. And again, there is no entry fee for this area, which is great. In 1955, South Korea's National Assembly donated this land to the UN as a permanent symbol of gratitude. This is the only UN designated cemetery in the world, and it's where the soldiers who fought during the Korean War are buried. Let's take a moment and have a look around. Walking through the grounds and reading some of the names and seeing the flags of the nations, it makes you pause and reflect. History lives here. It's beautifully kept and offers a quiet space to remember the sacrifice of so many for the sake of peace and freedom. What a lovely place to be able to reflect. Now we're off to our next destination. We've arrived at Busan's most iconic spot, the Gamcheon Culture Village. They call it the Machu Picchu of Korea, or Korea's Sanatori, and it's easily to see why. We wandered through the narrow alleyways for about an hour. Back in the 1950s, this area was built by the refugees from the Korean War. It was once a poor hillside village, but in 2009, a huge urban regeneration project started. Local artists and residents teamed up to turn this into a vibrant community of art, culture and life. Every corner you turn, there's a mural, a quirky sculpture, or a little gallery or cafe. Just look at the view. It's like a rainbow's exploded on the side of the hill. Just so many colours. And that was day one of sightseeing in Busan. Temples, sea views, history and art all in one day. But wait, we're not done yet. Day two took us out of Busan and into one of Korea's most ancient cities. Day two is all about history and heritage. We joined a full-day tour to Gyeongju, known as the Museum Without Walls. This city, once the capital of the Silla dynasty, is packed with UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Our first stop in Gyeongju was the Bulguksa Temple. It was a larger tour group today. It was about 35 people.
These four guardians are protecting the temple from the bad thing and the enemies.
This is one of the most important Buddhist temples in Korea and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It dates all the way back to the 8th century. The architecture is gorgeous. It's got some beautifully preserved wooden buildings. You can really feel the history here. It's like stepping into another time. I try and imagine what it's like back in the 8th century when it was first built. Our next stop is Haedong village. It's a traditional folk village that's also UNESCO listed. It's got traditional Hancock houses, farmland and families who have lived there for generations. Part of this tour we had an option to have a set lunch. You had a couple of options. There was a vegetarian, a fish dish, and there was a stir-fry pork. So my daughter got the stir-fry pork set menu and I got a fried egg. I didn't want to order the whole set menu because it would have been a waste. It was lovely walking around the village. It had amazing views from the top of the hill. And I even spotted a resident working in their garden. The next stop is the Daereungwon Tomb Complex. This is the most unique and peaceful places we visited. It's home to dozens of royal tombs from the Silla dynasty, and these are huge grassy mounds that hold remains of kings, queens and nobles. It's kind of surreal walking through the public park. One of the tombs is open to the public and we got to actually go inside. So inside the tomb it's like a small museum showing what was found, including a golden crown and horse gear and other treasures. Our next stop was Donggung Palace and Wolji Pond. This place was once part of the Silla Royal Palace grounds, built in 674 AD. That was a long time ago. It was used for banquets and royal celebrations. You can totally imagine the kings and queens strolling around here under the moonlight. It was absolutely magical, especially at sunset. Our last destination was Gyeongju Bridge, which has been reconstructed based on historical records. So it's a great example of how Korea honours its past while making it accessible in the present. This has certainly been a full-on day of historical sightseeing for sure. I'd certainly recommend this tour. Hopefully tomorrow we'll be hearing from the travel agent regarding our visas, so fingers crossed. I've just received notification from the travel agent that our passports are ready to be picked up and we have got our student visa. I've waited so long to be able to learn Japanese and come to Japan and do it that it seems kind of surreal that it's coming to fruition. I can't actually describe how happy I'm feeling. I do live with a huge amount of self-doubt and self-worth, but this YouTube channel has really helped boost my confidence thanks to you. So I really want to thank all of you with your kind comments. You don't realise how much it means to me, so thank you again. We've arrived at the travel agent who has arranged for our visa, and all we need to do is pay 100,000 won, that's for both of us, to receive our visa, and it's done. It was actually a very easy process if you took it step by step and didn't get overwhelmed. They were very helpful there. On the way back to the hostel, we decided to go to Gyeongju Beach. This is Busan's other well-known beach. It has heaps of restaurants and cafes nearby. Before we get to the beach, we're going to get a drink. Now, this shop was recommended by my daughter's teacher when she was here late last year studying Korean. There's so many reasons why I like Korea, but the two that come to mind are the Korean barbecue and then all the cafes and drinks they have. I've really enjoyed having the coffee in the morning as well as the drinks during the day. They have one that I'm especially fond of, which was grapefruitade. So it's grapefruit mixed with soda. In my next video, we're flying from Busan to Fukuoka, back to Japan, and to get ready for my studies. I do hope you'll join me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. And until next time, see ya!